Ele é maravilhoso.
It is. It definitely is. I am loving it. I'm super excited. People in chat already saying Mr. Judge, Chris Judge. They're excited. They're excited.
Andy, eu não acredito, tá mutado. Tá com ele mutado. Ah, não, Andy! Desmuta ele, Andy.
Done. And the chat goes what?
A Leila percebeu. Obrigado, Leila. Obrigado, Leila. Você é linda.
Can you hear us?
They're saying there's no audio and they can't hear him.
I am definitely not muted.
Olha ele com um... Ei, ele tem um Pantera Negra ali, um Funko do Kratos e do Pantera Negra. Ali atrás. Caraca. E uma garrafinha do Pantera Negra também atrás. Olha que legal.
Boy.
Ele falou!
Alright, there we go, there we go.
Cara,
okay,
boy.
sorry about that. I think that was on my end.
Cara, você precisa jogar God of War em inglês pra também.
And now the chat is actually going wild. Alright, so obviously we have Chris Judge here. He is the voice of Black Panther in Marvel's Avengers. We're super excited. We got some of your questions on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and we're just gonna get going.
Alguém, usuário anônimo, a gente vai... Jinx, como é que você... Obrigado pelo gift, obrigado. Pedrinho, seja bem-vindo.
All right, let's
get peraí, vamos fazer isso direito.
Yes.
Por favor.
All right. So, first one is,
primeira pergunta.
How does it feel to be voicing Black Panther?
Como você se sente em interpretar o Pantera Negra? Se a voz do Pantera Negra.
It's great.
Ele é ótimo.
I really had some. Well, I have a definitive list of.
Eu tinha uma lista definitiva
roles
sobre
that
objetivos
I would be willing to do,
que eu estava tentando, que eu estava disposto a fazer, bem curta.
And Black Panther was definitely one of them.
Pantera Negra é definitivamente uma dessas. E eu nunca achei que eu fosse fazer isso. Eu nunca teria a oportunidade.
It's been wonderful. It's been fantastic.
Tem sido maravilhoso.
It's been an honor.
Tem sido uma honra. Foi uma honra.
It's great to hear. All right. So the next, go ahead.
Okay. Next question. What was your approach or inspiration for playing Black Panther? Did you do any research into the characters, origins, that kind of thing?
I didn't need to do a lot of research.
Eu não precisei fazer muita pesquisa.
A lot of people don't know is
muitas pessoas não sabem.
I am a nerd.
Eu sou nerd.
I started collecting comics.
Eu comecei a colecionar quadrinhos nos anos 60.
From that standpoint, I was very familiar with the character.
Eu já era fã do personagem.
From an actor's standpoint, because I wanted to my version
a minha versão,
my interpretation
minha
of
T'Challa,
my own, to
tinha que ser minha, tinha que ser
judged on its own merits.
E tem que ser julgado por si só. Ele fez uma piadinha com o nome dele, que é Judge.
Listen to anyone else's take on it.
E eu não queria ouvir
to be
depois confundido que eu ouvisse com fosse autônomo.
The work I did do was with
o trabalho que eu fiz foi
wonderful.
Foi maravilhoso.
I hesitate to use the word coach because she was so much more my voice mentor.
Eu fui muito bem treinado. Eu tento não usar a palavra treinador porque ela foi muito mais que isso. Ele tá falando da pessoa que treinou a voz dele pra ele ganhar um sotaque wakandiano, que foi a mesma que trabalhou com a galera do filme Pantera Negra.
The accent. And Beth was also
me deu sotaque.
Vocal coach on
que foi a treinadora vocal do filme. Acabei de contar.
Hopefully,
eu não estou apenas esperando que
but the origins of the accent, how
as origens do sotaque, como ele foi.
It was a very interesting ride because I'm not a voice artist. Like they really are
artists. Eles realmente
they have
artistas.
A library
eles têm umas
bibliotecas that they can do.
Voz que eles podem fazer, e eu basicamente só tenho isso.
And I really don't ever venture out of the
e eu normalmente não saio muito da minha área de dessa voz.
with Beth, a lot of it was because I didn't
muito...
want him. I mean, obviously, it's always going to be some sort of me. But
de alguma forma eu sei que sempre vai ser eu, de alguma forma, que eu sempre vou parecer eu mesmo. Mas eu queria fazer um pouco de mim. E eu não conseguiria fazer isso se eu fosse o meu normal, se eu não tivesse tido ajuda.
I see. Alright, so what were some of the challenges of playing Black Panther?
Quais foram os maiores desafios? Ou se teve algum?
Well, some of the challenges were
alguns desafios foram
recording in isolation.
Fui gravar em total isolamento.
Really, the first time
foi tipo a primeira vez que eu tive fazer personagem principal
kind of on my own, without any
sozinho, sem ajuda, sem o resto da galera, o resto do elenco comigo.
Covid,
por causa de Covid e tudo, a gente foi forçado a regravar isso sozinho. Eu gravei em casa.
It's a very different process when you
processo
don't
muito
have
diferente.
The other actors/characters there to
atores e personagens
vibe with, play off.
Eu já tinha trabalhado.
So that was challenging.
Isso foi um desafio. Isso foi muito desafiante. Leila?
How did playing Black Panther differ from some of your other roles?
O que o Pantera tem de diferente em relação aos seus outros trabalhos?
It's I like to
eu gosto
physically try to be closer to the character.
Eu gosto de fisicamente estar perto do personagem.
So my previous characters are big, huge,
então, esses personagens normalmente são grandes, são fortes.
I've worked out quite a bit to get bigger.
Eu malho
and one of the things that I found was with T'Challa being obviously athletic, obviously muscular, but he was lithe and quick and springy.
O T'Challa é rápido, é ágil, ele é muscular, mas ele tem músculo, mas ele é bem diferente. Especialmente fisicamente do que eu
into, you know, my, I don't know if it's called the COVID 20, but I was probably into my COVID 40 pounds. And I found it difficult to
eu achei que foi um pouquinho difícil
kind of vocally portray the physicality of someone who was
vocalmente falando, foi difícil trabalhar com alguém mais rápido.
So I actually I lost, I think, 32 pounds.
Wow. Eu tipo perdi por volta de uns 20 quilos.
Feel different. I carried myself differently.
Eu senti a diferença e eu acabei me sentindo diferente enquanto eu interpretava o personagem.
Wow. Interesting. So you really put your all into everything.
E ele trabalhou tanto que ele acabou refletindo isso.
At my age, and I've been fortunate to have the career I have.
A minha idade eu sou ter carreira
I just vowed to not ever do anything that I don't believe in 100%, and that I'm not 100% committed to.
Eu não estou
engajado 100%. Have always believed that the physicality of a character is a very vital ingredient into being able to get into the headspace.
Me ajuda a entrar na mente do personagem.
Yeah, that's some dedication. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely.
for all your
tá dizendo que é uma senhora de uma dedicação. Ele tá parabenizando ele.
So this is from a player, Just Tank Man. What is your favorite thing about Black Panther as a character?
Qual é a sua coisa preferida do Pantera como personagem?
That he's not only, you know,
ele não é
very
apenas...
often we get into
normalmente nós sempre chegamos no ponto
what a character is able to do
physically
and not intellectually.
Fisicamente,
I love that he's not only this
e eu amo o fato dele não ser ele ser capaz
dominant character, but his intellect and his quickness and
capaz tanto fisicamente quanto em seu intelecto. Ele tem uma
sense of humor,
esse senso de
and lightness about him,
e uma leveza sobre ele mesmo.
Absolutely love, and
eu amo, absolutamente amo.
One of my favorite, not only the relationships with people.
E uma das minhas relacionamentos favoritos.
I got to say Wakanda forever.
e eu consegui dizer no jogo Wakanda Forever. Não acredito!
Oh,
no! Ele tá com a camisa do Wakanda Forever. Ele conseguiu dizer no jogo, a gente vai ouvir Wakanda Forever. Eu tô fanboy agora, sorry, galera.
I felt weird, like, because, you know, everything in Hollywood is so hush-hush these days. I felt like I couldn't wear any of my Black Panther stuff, or people would go, "Why are you wearing that?"
Quando eu tinha que manter o segredo, eu sentia que eu não podia usar nada das minhas coisas do Pantera, porque as pessoas... Por que você tá usando isso? Por que você tá usando uma camisa do Pantera? Então eu tinha que...
I didn't even realize you had a Black Panther shirt on. Nice, I love it.
Yeah, this is my first day since getting the job that I've actually worn.
Ele disse que essa foi a primeira camisa que ele usou depois de conseguir o papel de Pantera Negra.
I'm gonna wear this.
Ele pegou isso aqui e vestiu no primeiro dia. Poxa, é só o Pantera, Wakanda Forever.
That's great. I love it. I love it.
All right. Speaking of people, what was it like working with our team at Crystal Dynamics?
Falando de pessoas, como foi trabalhar com um time da Crystal Dynamics? Foi fantástico.
You know, the whole world obviously was going through
o mundo todo estava passando por um momento muito difícil. E ser capaz
have interactions with people,
de ter interações com pessoas,
but also to be able to talk,
mas também ser capaz de falar sobre
what was going on in the world,
o que estava acontecendo no mundo, no nosso país.
That was not, and I don't want to get away from how great they are.
Eu não quero sair do ponto que eles não são ótimos,
the emotional,
mas a emoção,
support through
o suporte emocional que a gente recebeu por muita coisa tensa que a gente passou. Tudo que tava passando foi...
It was immeasurable how much
imensurável como importante e quanto me ajudou a passar por essa fase ruim, por essas coisas ruins que eu passei.
Wow.
But yeah, it's and the amount of care
tá se emocionando.
That they have in reverence for
muitas coisas em referência a esse personagem,
Wakandans,
aos wakandianos.
It's great. You like for the dedication of other people that you work with to be
você quer que a dedicação das pessoas que você trabalha seja igual à sua?
Definitely.
E definitivamente isso.
And their reverence
e a reverência pelo personagem, e o respeito pelo personagem, e o conhecimento, não apenas de T'Challa, mas de Wakanda em geral, foi fantástico.
Yeah, I know a lot of our, especially our narrative team, they were just like oozing.
A Wendy tá falando que diversas das pessoas que trabalham, especialmente no time narrativo,
Anthony Beale was a big fan of yours.
E alguns deles já eram fãs do
He was like going crazy, and when I was typing to him, I'm like, I had a session with Chris Judge today. I'm like, I can't wait to meet him.
Eu tenho uma sessão com o Chris Judge hoje, eu não acredito, eu sou fã do cara, como é que eu vou escrever dele?
He's great, and the great thing is,
ele é ótimo,
he kept it a secret until I think our next to last record.
Eles guardaram um segredo até
o next to last or second to last record.
Where he just
full on and I was like, man, thank you for not telling me till now, because that's kind of creepy, dog. No.
You're like, you're like, now that I know.
No, he was great. He was great.
Anthony, if you're watching, shout out to you.
Shout out, brother.
Shout out. All right, so
vamos lá, a gente continua.
This one is what does Wakanda mean to you?
O que Wakanda significa para você?
Hope.
Esperança.
Aspiration. As an older black actor, because I don't ever want to
como ator
be
mais velho negro,
I'm black. I've been around since the 60s.
Eu estou aqui desde os anos 60.
To have a society
então ter uma sociedade
that is technologically advanced,
que é mais avançada,
intellectually advanced,
do resto do mundo e
meant everything.
Significou
when the media entertainment portrayed people of color a certain way for so long, to have this. One of the reasons
uma das razões
that I took this job.
Eu
not only
aceitei
because
esse
I love the
trabalho,
character and it meant a
não só porque
lot
eu
to
amo o
me,
personagem
but
e
it was
que significa muito pra
also
mim, mas
that
também porque
I still have in my mind the hope at
eu
some
também
premiere or
tenho
some event,
na minha mente
I
ainda
will have a
de
chance to
eu vou ter uma chance de
say thank you to Ryan, say
agradecer ao
thank
Ryan,
you to a lot of the team that
agradecer ao time que
got the Black Panther projects
projeto de
done, because I've literally watched different types of Black Panther projects tried to get made
eu vi
since probably
diversos
the 80s,
projetos de Pantera tentando serem feitos ao longo dos
to
anos.
finally have it
E finalmente,
in all its various forms,
ver nas suas várias formas,
is wonderful.
é maravilhoso.
Wow.
And to be a part of it it's truly it's humbling. It's really
parte disso é incrível.
Thank you for answering that question.
Absolutely. Wait, do I have a choice to not answer?
Peraí, tem uma escolha de não responder.
I mean,
you could, I guess.
Então, tipo, você pode não responder.
All right, here's a question from one of our viewers, Carrot Scraps, who asked, as an actor, how do you approach a new character?
Como você cria, como é o seu processo de criação de personagem? Como você se aproxima do personagem que vai fazer?
It was a different
internamente. Foi diferente.
Process with this.
Foi um processo diferente com
just
esse
knowing
aqui.
that I didn't have the rest of the cast to
E sabendo que eu não tinha o resto do elenco para
had to be
eu tinha
more
que
invested in the preparation.
Mais preparado.
With previous stuff, I did my own work.
Coisas.
And
no trabalho no passado eu fazia a minha coisa e deixava o resto na
one of the great things about
uma das coisas mais legais
was that we got to explore T'Challa's relationships,
as relações do T'Challa,
other characters,
com outros personagens,
and really hash them out. Generally, that's something I would like to do on set, to see where your interaction,
ver onde interações, perdão,
in person is with the other characters. And because we didn't have that ability to even have read-throughs together to do any of that, I had to do all that work on my own, well, not on my own, with Beth McGuire. And so that was a completely different process for me.
E foi diferente, processo diferente
a little bit.
O Evan na Season 2 saiu.
Evan, what's up?
I know, hey Evan, how's it going? We'll talk to Evan and like
knowing that Evan was involved.
Saber que o Evan estava
just on different stuff that I work on.
I
always go, such and such character would never say that. With Evan being involved, I couldn't do that.
Ele disse que tem coisas que ele fazia realmente. Eu posso fazer isso com o Evan aqui.
No, I know. So I decided to come back.
That's cool. That's cool.
Vamos massa do Pantera Negra no estante do Evan.
I'm good. Hold on. I gotta mute the Twitch because I was watching the stream.
Ele tava assistindo o stream, então eu tenho que mutar.
I wanted to see what was in Evan's background.
Because that background
tells so much about people. What's in their background of their
I'm gonna tilt the camera a little bit.
I can't wait.
So, it's like a...
Caramba, olha o tanto de coisa do Pantera.
Oh, awesome.
You can see the Miles Morales soundtrack.
Wow.
Right there. Hold on. Yeah, right there. There's Miles Morales. That's an
extensão de Miles Morales.
Milestone Media, their superhero character. That is a book on a tribe called Quest by Hanif Abdurraqi, which is amazing. Yo, you gotta read that book. It's amazing.
É livro que eu perdi o nome.
That's a Black Panther helmet that a friend of mine 3D printed for me.
O cara printou esse é 3D, aquele é pra ele.
Can I have one?
Aí a gente tá pedindo.
That's The Art of Making Miles Morales.
A arte de fazer Miles Morales, no livro de artwork do jogo. Esse é o...
That is Art of the Movie book.
É a arte
signed by somebody very
filme.
special. I'm not at liberty to divulge. Last year I broke my hip and that showed up in the hospital.
E quando eu quebrei meu pé, eles levaram
a French edition. Sorry, I'm like this is my camera works terrible, but that's a French edition of Rise of the Black Panther.
É uma edição francesa do Rise of the Black Panther.
One of the artists, Paul Renaud, bought to New York a couple of years ago.
Trouxe para ele
and it was a joy to work with Paul. But yeah, anyway, I just want to say hi to Chris.
Eu só queria dizer,
I didn't know you're an old school comic book nerd, so hopefully one day soon we can.
Eu sabia que você é nerd old school, então eu espero um dia a gente se encontrar.
I would love
it. Tá adoraria.
Sure, Andy.
Aí o Wayne tô convidado também.
As long as you act right.
Okay, all right, okay. I think we'll go with that. I'll just be in the corner, just so you know, like observing.
I don't want to cut into Chris's time. It's been such a joy to have you voicing T'Challa in this game, and you know,
ter você como voz.
I just can't wait for everybody to hear.
Eu que eu mal posso esperar para posso experimentar.
That these guys have been building over at Crystal Dynamics.
Brother, thank you so much.
All right, and I'm gonna pop out.
Oh, you can stay if you want.
Okay, I'm gonna stay and be quiet. I'm gonna mute.
Eu vou ficar, mas eu vou ficar quieto.
We have a bunch of questions for you later. So, Chris, I think we kind of delved into this. I think you were like leading into it, but so did you find the voice like easy, hard to do?
Você achou a voz?
Like how many different layers went into it?
Quantas?
Oh, a lot. The great and wonderfully annoying thing about Beth.
Uma coisa maravilhosamente chata disso.
She let me get away.
Ela me deixou passar com
nothing.
Nada, tipo, ela não deixou nada passar.
Ear is so finely tuned. She knew exactly when I was trying to cheat.
Ela sabia exatamente quando eu tentava trapacear, não estava fazendo a voz direito.
To get to certain places in my vocal register,
eu então estava tentando chegar em determinados pontos da minha meu alcance vocal,
get it off certain parts of the palate. You know, it's all that stuff that
tudo isso.
I had never really
eu nunca
explored,
tinha explorado.
She made me very specific. And so there were, so you know, we would the script was voluminous. So when you're doing takes of stuff and you really felt it, and sometimes Beth would go, we're gonna have to go again.
Super blunt, just like no.
Poxa, que
again.
Não, faz de novo.
But you know it. I love her so much. And this is not about race. This is about, you know, the genesis of the dialect was the Hausa language. Now this is a white woman who got into a car and drove across Africa by herself.
Viajou, entrou num carro e viajou pela África sozinha.
A different weight to when she would say, this is where this came from, this is where
isso é de onde, isso aqui é de onde veio isso aqui,
because she didn't read about it.
Ela não leu sobre isso.
You know,
ela viveu isso. Tá falando da Beth só.
And her
o espírito dela e
openness to her emotions
e a facilidade que ela tem de abrir as suas emoções, de falar das suas emoções.
As I said before, everything that was going on
sobre tudo que estava acontecendo
in real culture was we would talk sometimes for hours. We would and just I mean, she will be a soul friend for the rest of my life.
Ela vai ser uma amiga
just a wonderful woman and
mulher maravilhosa.
But a taskmaster.
Foi a minha taskmaster. Piadinha,
and so there were
treinador.
Recordings that she made for me that I would listen to.
Uma das gravações que eu ouvia, que ela fazia pra mim, pra eu inicialmente,
I knew I didn't want to do
eu sabia que eu não queria
a voice
fazer
match, and I was very adamant about that.
Uma voz.
So one of the things that I kind of already had in
uma das coisas que eu já tinha
was Forrest when he did Last King of Scotland. So
Force Gump fez o último rei da Escócia.
Own kind of base going into
Essa é a única base que eu tinha.
I quickly had to get rid of.
E eu tive que me livrar daquilo. A base que ele tinha, achando que era um sotaque africano, ele falou assim, não, tá errado, vamos fazer de zero.
Because her ear for regional African
a capacidade auditiva dela para africano regional é incrível.
It's almost unnerving.
Às vezes é chato.
Part of it came from Mandela, and so at times she would say, "Nope, we need to go again. You fell into your Mandela."
Não, ó. Você caiu no seu Mandela, né, que era a referência dele. Não, você volta de novo.
And
é um ser humano incrível, maravilhoso.
Very lucky.
Eu sou muito sortudo.
Forever affected by being able to work with Beth.
E eu vou ser sempre marcado pelo trabalho que eu fiz com ela.
Love you, Beth. You got there.
Beth. Peguei.
That's awesome.
Ele tá muito emocionado. Ele mal tá conseguindo segurar as lágrimas.
Another question from a user. This one's from cute little Chaos Kitty. What are you most proud of in your performance?
Kitty. Wow.
Tá admirando o nick da pessoa.
Yeah.
Hey, Kitty. What were you most proud of in your performance?
Sobre a sua performance como Pantera, qual o maior orgulho?
I think.
Você se orgulha mais?
That's a tough one. Most I'm proud of it all.
Sinto orgulho de tudo. Todo o processo.
Just that we not just got through it.
A gente
and
não
when
só
I say we, it's we as the collective.
A gente como coletivo.
My performance is the sum of.
A minha performance é uma soma, não só da minha, de tudo que deu, de todas as pessoas que se envolveram.
The words were great, the scenes were great.
As cenas foram maravilhosas.
There was so much there, and I'm very stubborn. I have problems giving in to things. And what I'm proud of is giving into the truth of a lot of these moments.
E dos melhores orgulhos é conseguir se entregar nesses momentos.
Being able to walk in the truth of this character.
Ser capaz de trabalhar com a verdade desse personagem.
Gosh, the last year and a half, I guess it's been.
Ano e meio.
So I hesitate to say what I'm proudest of.
Eu hesito em dizer
because I'm proud to have or to be this character, but I'm also honored.
Eu me sinto orgulhoso de ser esse personagem.
It's more about the honor of being.
É mais sobre a honra de interpretar esse personagem. Caraca! Dia maravilhoso.
That is 30 minutes. If you want to hang out, if you want to hang out, go. That's totally fine. Hi, Hannah. How are you?
Hannah, finalmente.
It's a party. But yeah, I know you're super busy. So I guess like, thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you
for everything.
Obrigado.
Thank you. You know, maybe I would love once this is out if we could maybe do another one of these with the fans.
Depois que aí, eu queria fazer uma outra dessas com os fãs e ouvir deles.
Oh yeah, I have
eles acharam.
Plans for that already, and I really want
aí o Andy disse que já tem planos para isso. Ele é ótimo.
So yes, but yeah, on behalf of like just I'm speaking like on behalf of Crystal Dynamics. I'm not. But thank you so much. I'm a big fan.
Eu tô falando como se eu fosse a Crystal Dynamics, todo mundo representando todo mundo, mas eu não tô.
We are so happy and so honored to have you as our Black Panther.
Estamos muito felizes de ter você aqui. Pantera Negra aí.
So thank you.
Muito obrigado.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Crystal Dynamics and Marvel, everyone for letting me be part of this, and to all the fans, I really hope you love this as much as we love doing it.
Amém isso da mesma forma.
You know, I mean, you were just talking about the legacy of this character and what it means.
E o Evan tá falando
it's a humbling thing, right? When you approach it, right? And you're like, you realize in this gigantic stream of story that's been going on for like, gosh, almost 60 years. Like, so, you know, again,
muito baixinho, mas
so much for your commitment.
Aí ele tá agradecendo pelo compromisso dele, que ele veio para esse papel com uma forma bem humilde. Ele faz jus a todo o legado desse personagem.
Appreciate you. And thank you, everybody, and you will love it.
Ele acha que a gente vai amar. Entendeu? A gente vai amar.
Bye, Chris.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Now we got to follow that up.
I know, you guys, are you ready to follow that up?
No pressure.
No pressure at all. No pressure
Sem pressão, né?
How are you guys?
Como é que vocês estão?
Good.
Vamos falar agora da narrativa, galera.
Switch out these nameplates. There we go. Hi, Hannah, how are you?
Placas.
Oh, okay. Anyways, all right. So,
consultor de narrativa
so
e
can't wait for you guys to hear
jogo.
His version of Black Panther in our Marvel's Avengers. But now we're going to transition to this next segment with Evan and Hannah. I think Hannah might be having a little bit of audio issues. I don't quite know.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Hannah.
Agora a gente vai falar na história.
We'll start with
o cara que entrou, o Evan Narcisse, roteirista de quadrinho, ajudou em Mais Morales como consultor, e agora tá ajudando em Pantera Negra.
Basically, it means I
help da Marvel faz tempo,
right? So from top
faz
to
bastante tempo,
what are the game mechanics? We're hearing some ambient audio from you now, Hannah. So like, what are the game mechanics? How can the story, the narrative design, like reinforce the game mechanics, right? How can the game mechanics inform the game design, right? So, you know, how to hook those two things together really tightly in a satisfying way. So, you know, that's everything from, okay, does this plot point make sense given the things that the character can do in the game? Given the things that the character can do in the game, how can we make the gameplay more interesting or differentiated?
Ele tá falando que ele comenta, que a proposta é mais ou menos assim. Vamos ver o que esse personagem é capaz de fazer no jogo. Dependendo do que ele faz, como é que ele pode chegar a esse ponto, como é que esse ponto específico da história vai interagir com ele, como isso vai interagir no mundo da história. Como isso vai interagir no mundo.
Story that the game is trying to tell holistically.
Que a história do jogo
thinking about the game design as part of that. They're not two
separate
things.
E tenta pensar no design do jogo comum.
Basically, it could mean everything from reading the whole script of a game and giving feedback.
E o meu trabalho a gente vai de
writing the side quests, you know, coming up with ideas of other side quests. It can be figuring out a character's backstory and writing their lines.
Background
so it depends on the particular studio, the game, the project, what they are trying to achieve, what they feel they need help with. What I feel
precisam de ajuda do que eu posso fazer por eles.
It changes like with each different project, but
e muda de projeto para projeto.
It was pretty deep and involved. Wouldn't you say?
Nesse eu tava bem envolvido.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I have yes, I have headphones that both have ears on them because it's me. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I feel like Evan directed me a lot, and the other writers as well, and the team. Just in terms of remembering things about the character that are core to who he is, especially. And I don't think the movie gets into this as much, which is probably why it's so important to hone in on is his scientist side. His intellectual side, because I think they lean in the movie very much on Shuri being the tech person and the science person, but it's so core to his character in the comics that he is intelligent and technologically gifted, and he'll upgrade his own suits and he'll come up with his own things, and so it was always important to make sure he was approaching everything from that mindset. He's not just a he's not just a jock. He's not just, you know, going pummeling things and punching stuff. He really does approach things as someone who likes to thoroughly think through things and
analisa as
to
coisas.
kind of examine them and pick them apart. And so that was probably the biggest note Evan continually had me like thinking of is just you got to remember that T'Challa is not just a superhero, he is an incredibly intelligent man.
E aí ele ficou lembrando que o T'Challa não é só super-herói, ele é incrivelmente inteligente, realmente analista e estrategista e que eles tinham que fazer esse filme.
Pretty much just, piggybacks directly off of that, and it's what was it like working together for both of you?
Como foi trabalhar juntos?
Awful. Okay, you heard it here first, everyone.
Hannah, horrível.
No, it was amazing. When they told us that Evan was going to work with us, I think just about everybody in the studio flipped out. We have a lot of big fans. And so we actually brought Evan to the studio so he could see some of the stuff we were working on and also so we could just talk to him. And we had a lot of people going, can we come into the room too? Like, can we fit in on this discussion? Because we really all, just want to hear his brain. I think I took a dozen pages of notes that day.
Eu acho que eu tive umas 12
and it wasn't
páginas de
always
anotações
stuff
pra
that was
casa.
specifically having to do with like the plot points of the story. It was really just talking about all of the characters in Wakanda as people and what's important to remember for those characters and how to do them justice. I think that was something that was so important to us. Is that we did these characters justice, and I feel very grateful that we've had Evan because it gives us the confidence to really explore the stories inside Wakanda in a way that I don't think we would have had.
E de uma forma que a gente não acha que a gente não teria tido sem a ajuda dele.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, for my part, it was really fun,
Do meu lado foi super divertido. Viu como a história mudou e se melhorou e evoluiu.
Fascinating and fun.
Fascinante e divertida e ajudar a montar isso. Muito baixo, nossa. Características de T'Challa e mas também foi
in the forefront of my mind, and the whole team for sure is like, this is one of the first times that people will be able to return to Wakanda en masse.
Vai ser uma das primeiras vezes que as pessoas vão ser capazes de voltar para Wakanda depois do filme e nós vimos uma visão de Wakanda lá, capturou, prendeu o coração das pessoas e fez as pessoas se apaixonarem por Wakanda. Então essa é uma chance de manifestar uma forma única, uma Wakanda única desses personagens. Acho que essa foi a coisa mais emocionante para mim, mais animadora. Como é que seria um livro de história de Wakanda? O que a gente deveria colocar? Você vê na arquitetura do jogo como isso aparece. E o que é diferente sobre esse T'Challa do filme? Como a personalidade dele é diferente. Cara, que a gente viu e uma coisa bem única que tem aqui.
I turned it off. I didn't want the stress.
Aí ele tá sorrindo. O que o chat tá dizendo?
When Hannah said it was awful.
Oh yeah.
Ele tá dizendo que a galera tá indo ainda do awful.
Yes.
Foi terrível.
Clearly.
Foi horrível, claramente horrível.
So, this is for both of you, what were your influences in building the narrative for our
Quais suas influências em montarem a narrativa? Alguma coisa específica?
I mean, I have specific comic runs that I could probably reference. Interestingly, and I don't want to get into why, the Flags of Our Fathers run, where Cap comes to Wakanda during World War II, ended up being quite influential in how we crafted the backstory for our characters. I had never heard of that run.
Eu nunca tinha ouvido falar dessa.
It's very fascinating to see a different Black Panther because you're so used to seeing T'Challa. So to have Azuri and see that kind of background, it really hit home how important it is to have a set history in mind when you're writing this character, because he comes with all of the history behind it. So you have to be very clear, okay, in our version of Wakanda, this is the history, this is how it's led up to here,
essa é a história de Wakanda, essa é Wakanda e
Rise of the Black Panther also, very much so. I think in addition to the Wakandan history that sort of sits on everything, the family history of T'Challa also really influences everything he does, because there's these key tentpole moments in T'Challa's life that influence who he is as a leader. And so it was very important for us to see, you know, which of those things established the comics we wanted to take and which we wanted to adjust so that we got T'Challa to the point that he is in our game. So those would be two big ones for me.
Esses foram os maiores pra mim.
For me,
pra mim foi...
I'm a huge Christopher Priest fan.
Eu sou fã do
Christopher character in that title in 1998 is influential.
Nossa, tá muito baixo.
Everybody who's written Black Panther afterwards, and you know, in particular, probably 3 storylines.
Algumas quadrinhos.
The State 1 and 2, where you know.
Ele tá citando alguns quadrinhos específicos, tá?
Basically, Wakanda, Atlantis,
sobre Wakanda, Atlantis.
Kingdom of Lemuria, which is populated by a genetic offshoot of humanity called deviants. They all come to the brink of war, and Magneto gets involved. So like, one of the things that I love so much about the Priest run is that like he really helped develop this idea of what I call like superpowered statecraft, right? It's like, okay, yeah, you know how at the UN,
tá falando sobre algumas runs específicas de como analisam superpoderes de guerras e como elas trabalham junto.
May kind of have disagreements. You know, in the Marvel universe, you know, these countries have superpowers.
Esses países têm
and you know, they might not necessarily want to abide by the let's play nice, be diplomatic rules. What happens when like,
lidar,
you know,
jogar de boa.
Superpowered nations and superpowered rulers for nations almost come to blows, and I think that that's an idea that Priest explores so well in his run. So those 2 storylines. There was another storyline where Claw comes back and they have kind of another really intense reckoning, and T'Challa loses his control a little bit, and you see just how viscerally the kind of blood vengeance that he seeks against Claw affects him.
Aí tá falando sobre uma run específica que o Pantera finalmente entrega a vingança e ele faz umas merdas e como visceral pode ser essa vingança wakandiana e do quanto que o T'Challa causou danos ao... E sobre essas runs que foram tão importantes, que lidam tanto com as dinâmicas emocionais desses personagens. E o que significa quando as pessoas que você governa
Black Panther as like the living symbol of their history.
E tipo, Pantera Negra é um símbolo vivo da vida dele. Isso vem com muita responsabilidade. São coisas dos quadrinhos que eles tentaram fazer no jogo.
Nice.
Nossa, mas o áudio dele tava muito baixo no início, eu quase não ouvi nada. Foi que eu vi isso depois.
Layla?
Right, sorry, I just started thinking about, you know, like that question you posed about, like, you know, what does it mean to be a king and like the emotional dynamics off in my head, just thinking about that.
We're doing it all the time, so.
So what is it like writing for a game that's continuously evolving and ongoing?
Como é escrever para um jogo que está sempre continuando e evoluindo?
Aspect of it factor into writing?
Esse trabalho de eles estar sempre continuando.
Oh, absolutely. And Evan's up to date on the game too. He was just talking to us about Clint the other day.
Ele tava atualizado em relação ao jogo, ele tava conversando com a gente sobre
it helps that the narrative team very much works as a collaborative. Like there's been a couple articles that have called me the narrative lead on Wakanda, and I wouldn't consider myself that because our whole team worked very much together on the project, and it's often hard for us to remember who did what.
E a gente não fica focando em quem fez isso.
And Keanu and Nicole and Jess all contributed to
todo mundo contribuiu
that story together. And the usefulness of us working as a team like that is it meant that we knew what was going on in the other packs, even though they were being developed simultaneously. And so we could make sure that everything fell in line together and we're addressing this thing that happened during when we introduced Kate and
então tipo, essa coisa aconteceu quando a gente trabalhou com Kate.
I really appreciate having a narrative team that is so communicative, like we're
como a gente era muito comunicativo
right now,
a gente sabia pontos e
so we make sure that we're very much in constant communication, and Evan was getting stuff from all of us that we were writing and working on and trying to figure out, you know, how does this affect the world at large, the bigger storyline having to do with AIM, how we were going to use various villains,
vários vilões que nós temos.
That sort of thing. So
disponíveis.
It's tough only in the sense that
é difícil no sentido de que
any chess move we do is gonna affect all of the others, and so we just want to make sure that they're all in line with each other. But it's because we all work on everything.
Mas como todos nós
that
trabalhamos em
it's
tudo,
not quite as daunting as
não é tão difícil quanto parece.
Nice. Okay. So, what makes our version of Wakanda different than ones
O que faz a
that
nossa
might exist
versão
in
de
other
Wakanda ser
mediums?
diferente daquelas do filme?
I'm asking the hard questions.
Yeah.
I'll start on that a little bit.
Okay.
They're not. This version of Wakanda is not
A versão de
quite as
Wakanda
isolated.
não é tão isolada
As, ones in other media.
como algumas que já foi apresentado em outras mídias.
There was an attempt at
Tem uma
establishing
tentativa
diplomatic
de
relations,
abertura
before A-Day, so
antes do dia A.
Their existence is known to some
A existência
people.
deles eles são conhecidos.
The exact coordinates?
Às vezes coordenadas exatas não.
Are they inviting anybody in? No.
Eles estão convidando pessoas para Wakanda, não.
You know, I think, you know, this version of Wakanda is
Essa
not
versão de Wakanda
just a kind of like whispered myth.
não é só algo que é um segredo que é sussurrado.
People in higher echelons of political power know about it.
Pessoas sabem.
Maybe your average American citizen, maybe not, you know.
Talvez o seu cidadão médio americano não, mas as pessoas em poder
so
sabem.
I would say that you know, from the kind of outsider perspective, the rest
Isso
of
de
the
uma perspectiva de um forasteiro, de uma pessoa de fora.
I also think because of some of the changes
De algumas das mudanças que a gente
we made to this version of T'Challa's
essa versão do T'Challa.
The political mood in the country is probably a little bit different.
O clima político é bem diferente.
T'Challa himself is different.
O próprio T'Challa é diferente.
Yeah.
This version of T'Challa, I think, is very different.
Essa versão do T'Challa é muito
arrogant and more aloof. And probably a little bit.
Pra minha internet. Pra minha internet. Ou foi a live?
I think that trickles down to the rest of the country, right? You know, like, our king's a badass. He's managed to, like, you know, keep us safe, and, you know, he's got a really strong will, and, you know,
Ele tem uma força de vontade incrível.
that Claw poses, which is the biggest
Até
threat
Claw
that
chega
this
e
version of Wakanda has ever faced. You know,
é o maior desafio que essa versão do Wakanda já
it makes T'Challa and everybody around him rethink his approach, his
e faz
personality.
T'Challa pensar, repensar
So
sobre
I think, again,
como ele lida
you know,
com
the average Wakanda citizen in this game probably trust in their king a lot.
E
And
eles
they've never
provavelmente,
seen him kind
os
of falter or
habitantes de
reinvent
Wakanda
himself.
confiam muito
So
no rei dele.
that probably makes them have, as citizens, a
Faz
confidence
com
in
que
his
eles-
abilities.
E os
That,
cidadãos têm uma confiança demais, uma confiança excessiva nas
probably
habilidades dele.
an extreme confidence
E
that
ele
then
tem
gets shaken by
confiança
an extreme
estranha.
threat.
There's definitely a lot of reverence toward T'Challa, I think, in our Wakanda because of that. He's less collaborative than we may have seen him in other places. He's
T'Challa
much
é
more,
menos
this
colaborativo
is
do
my
que
job,
os
this is the thing I have to do, this is
Essas
the
são as
weight
coisas
on
que
me.
eu preciso fazer, essas são as
So
minhas
that's
obrigações.
definitely true. I
demais do
think
game.
it's also important to note that he's
É
a
importante
lot
também dizer
older
que é pouquinho mais
than
frio
necessarily he was in the movie. He's
que ele era
not
no
new
filme.
to being king. He's been king for quite a while.
Ele já é rei há
so
um
that
bom
comes
tempo.
with it sort of a confidence of experience.
Vem com um pouquinho de experiência e
So that makes
confiança em
him quite a bit
acesso.
different. I think we still wanted to draw from Wakanda all of these important characters,
gente também
like
queria
Okoye and
esses
Salvatore, who's
personagens
a comic
importantes.
book character that we pulled for the
Personagens
game,
importantes
who I
dos
really love.
quadrinhos.
And so we still grounded it in the comics, but we
Nós
wanted our
estamos
T'Challa
muito
to be in
com
a
o
place
pé
where he
nos
didn't
quadrinhos,
think
a
he
gente
needed the
queria
Avengers.
mostrar por que ele
And
está
that
nesse jogo.
he's been doing it on his own for so long
E ele
that
já
there's
vem
no
fazendo
reason for
isso
him to think that
sozinho,
he's
e
ever
ele
going
não
to
tem
come
porquê.
across something where he might want other
E ele nunca
people
passa por uma
to
coisa
join
que agora ele
forces
vai
with
passar
him.
por
And
uma,
that,
vai
that
encontrar uma
also
coisa que ele
contributes a lot to his
talvez
relationship
precise
with
disso.
Shuri in our game, which I think is very different from
E a nossa versão da
pretty
Shuri
much
é
any
bem
other version of their relationship. There's a wedge
a
between
versão da
them.
Shuri e a versão da relação que eles têm
Due
é muito
to a lot of that
diferente do que eles têm.
backstory that you'll get from playing the game.
E a backstory que vocês vão ganhar
trying really hard not to spoil anything.
Tô tentando não dar spoilers.
There's a wedge between them.
Tem buraco entre eles, eles não são tão próximos. Algumas coisas que aconteceram no passado. E você vai passar tempo trabalhando em melhorar essa relação.
Oh. Here's another question that will test your unspoiling metal. How is it?
Tem a próxima pergunta vai testar a sua capacidade de não dar spoiler.
Shuri, Okoye, and Claw.
Ok.
Peraí, repete essa pergunta. Eu vou voltar aqui 2 segundos.
In this pack.
Awesome.
Oh. Here's another question that will test your unspoiling metal. How is it writing our versions of Black Panther, Shuri, Okoye, and Claw?
Ok.
Como foi escrever a versão da Okoye, da Shuri e do Pantera Negra?
I'll start by answering about Claw.
Go ahead.
Again, this version of Claw is different too.
Essa versão do Claw também é diferente.
You know, in the comics we've seen Claw.
Nos quadrinhos a gente viu Claw
a would-be colonizer, you know,
como colonizador,
somebody who's basically out to kind of steal.
Alguém que está disposto a roubar
amazing natural resource of
recurso natural.
You know, the movie kind of put him as more of a
O
mercenary.
filme mostrou mais como um mercenário, uma coisa mais financeira.
And ran afoul of a very aggressive,
bem agressivo.
Warrior nation. Here,
Aqui,
you know, he too is more of a scientist, right?
Ele é mais também, ele é mais um cientista. Ele não está confiando em outra pessoa ou dependendo de outra pessoa para fazer os seus aparelhos. Ele faz uma parceria com a AIM, mas ele tem um motivo pessoal, ele tem uma vingança que ele quer executar. Isso é um comentário que eu vou dar spoiler.
Will do.
So yeah, the Claw is different in that way.
Claw também é
You know,
diferente.
Shuri, I think,
A Shuri,
in previous versions of
em versões
T'Challa and Shuri
passadas
relationship, you know,
da
you've
Shuri,
seen
já
civil
viu
rivalry, you know,
uma
in the comics,
rivalidade.
Shuri is mad aggressive. You know, she's
super agressiva, ela é super agressiva,
cocky, she's arrogant,
ela é arrogante,
you know,
ela é exibida.
And when she you know, became the Black Panther in the comics,
Ela virou o Pantera Negra, ela se tornou o Pantera Negra nos
she
quadrinhos.
was really not trying to listen to anybody.
Ela
So,
não ouvia ninguém.
This version here is,
Essa versão
like Hannah
aqui,
said, more collaborative. You
ela é
know,
mais, ela colabora mais.
And more social, you know.
É mais sociável.
You know, it feels weird to say, but she kind of feels
É
like
meio
more of a
estranho dizer.
teenager here than in the movie, you know.
Yeah.
Ela parece
Because
mais
you get a sense that, oh, you have friends
adolescente
and you
aqui do
hang
que no
out and
filme.
You know, you're on TikTok all the time.
In some
assim,
ways,
você
it
tá no
also
TikTok
kind of feels
inteiro.
like she's been protected from some of the darker things.
Parece que ela foi,
She's
a impressão que dá é que ela foi
definitely
protegida de algumas
been
coisas mais
sort of shielded
pesadas da
from some
história.
of the harder stuff.
And she's more,
Das coisas mais pesadas, então ela é mais
Yeah.
infantil, entre
You know,
aspas.
and T'Challa again, you know,
Ela não tão
this is
vivida.
a dude who,
A gente, ela é um cara que
I think,
eu
as
acho
the
que
embodiment of Wakanda, right? Like,
todo mundo em Wakanda defende.
takes some of those ideals to heart.
Ele pega alguma daqueles
a lot
ideais
more
wakandianos e
than, in
carrega
other
junto.
iterations. So, you know,
E essas aspirações.
he's a lot more isolationist than, you know,
Ele é mais
other versions of
isolacionista do que o
from the
normal.
comic, in the movie. You know,
Do que
I
o
also
filme,
think
por exemplo.
he's a lot more angry, you know.
Ele é um pouco
like,
mais.
with
Ele é mais
you know,
agressivo, ele é
good
mais.
reason, but
Tem uma
and that
razão
anger
pra
comes out in
isso.
different ways. T'Challa, I think, mostly in
E
latter-day
T'Challa,
interpretations of
em sua
him,
maioria,
has been,
nessa interação,
written and portrayed as somebody who has his
foi
emotions under
escrito
control, but
um
I
personagem
think
que está
that's
sob
true of this
controle,
version, but like when he gets angry,
mas quando ele
you
fica com
know it,
raiva,
you feel it.
você
And it
sente
feels-
isso.
and it
Você
feels
sente ele
deeply
com
felt.
raiva.
Mhm.
Você sabe que ele está com
Yeah.
raiva, ele deixa claro isso.
Absolutely. In terms of Okoye's character,
E sobre o Okoye,
the comics were kind of essential for
quadrinhos foram
understanding
essenciais
her
pra
as a
isso.
person and understanding the Dora Milaje. There's some
Entender
really,
a Dora
really
Milaje.
excellent stuff in Tana
Existem coisas
Hassi's
incríveis e
run about
maravilhosas.
the Dora Milaje and who they are and
sobre
what
as
their
Dora
role
Milaje,
is.
quem elas são.
And I think we drew a lot of that into
E a
Okoye's
gente
character as well as other Dora
conseguiu
Milaje
colocar
that
muito
show
disso
up
no.
in the game. I didn't know. From the movie, you get a very sort of one-dimensional view of who Okoye is and what her relationship with T'Challa is like. But in the comics, it's so much more layered than that, because there's this whole weight of the Dora Milaje's history again that influences who they are and what their role was in Wakanda. Originally, they were potential wives for the Black Panther, and that's part of the honorifics and things that they use with Black Panther. So there's that kind of you know, that's not the way it is anymore, but there's that sort of very like relationship between like, the Dora Milaje and their Panther. That was really fun to play with in terms of Okoye, of how much can she question what T'Challa does and how much does she still, you know, she's meant to serve the Black Panther, she's meant to protect the Black Panther. So there's sort of that dynamic of, you know, you don't want her to be too disrespectful, but also it's Okoye, so she, you know.
Sometimes you really should listen to me, Mike.
Exactly. So yeah, that was a really fun balance to come up with, and just getting to read all of the Dora Milaje stuff in the comics. They're so cool. I'm such a fan of them. I hope we get to do more with them. And then from T'Challa and Shuri, I think we've kind of talked around that a lot. I think Shuri's been really fun to include, just in terms of how she relates to the other Avengers too, because that's quite different. You know, not all of the Avengers in our game have necessarily met or been in Wakanda in other iterations, like Kamala, and so getting to sort of see how T'Challa would react to Kamala and Shuri would react to Kamala has been pretty fun. She's such a fangirl and she's so earnest, and it's a little bit different than, you know, how Tony Stark reacts to Wakanda.
That's awesome. All right, so this is from a player, Pewter Odin. What is both of your favorite parts of working on the expansion? I know, all these like weird spoilery territory things that you gotta like weave around.
I think for me, my favorite part was getting to figure out what T'Challa's opinion is of the other Avengers. To figure out like how he would feel about these various characters after A-Day, and how he would feel about the decisions they made after A-Day, and what decisions they're making now, has been really fun to figure out, different depending on which hero he's talking to. And we really like, there was a lot of discussions back and forth in the narrative chat of, okay, how would T'Challa feel about Tony, who like was living in a trailer? How would he feel about, you know, Kamala being a young teenager being part of the Avengers? So those were really fun things to figure out. Que foram muito divertidas, que a gente fez brainstorm e descobrir como iria funcionar.
Yeah, and you know, the Avengers' opinions of T'Challa and Wakanda, right? You know.
Os Vingadores estão indo para Wakanda.
Let's just say it's a mild crisis of faith for Tony, you know.
Yep.
Vamos dizer que é só uma crise de fé do Tony.
Yeah.
I thought I had cool stuff. Well,
eu vi coisas legais.
But also, can you share all this cool stuff with me?
Yeah,
please?
yeah.
Você pode, tipo assim, poxa, o Tony pensando, poxa, você tem coisas legais, legal. Mas você pode dividir essas coisas legais comigo.
You know, T'Challa and Shuri are going to see. They're going to have rivalry with some characters.
Eles têm algumas rivalidades com alguns personagens.
You know, they're, you know, going to be impressed by some of the capabilities that these other characters bring.
Eles vão ser impressionados por alguns.
You know, it's like very much a getting to know you kind of dynamic.
Eles vão ter uma dinâmica também de vamos nos conhecer.
Fraternal.
Yeah, that's okay. I will say non-spoilery, but I think my favorite
não é spoiler, mas a minha
is Thor.
O meu herói favorito em Guerra pro Wakanda é o Thor.
I didn't write those. That was Keanu and Jess.
Eu não escrevi esse, foi o Keanu e a Jess.
They're pretty much my favorite.
Ele basicamente é meu favorito. Thor é o favorito dela em War of Wakanda. Por quê? Por quê?
All right. We have a question from Carrot Scraps. This one looks like it's more for you, Evan. As a consultant, how do you guide writers making a new take on an existing character without stepping on existing work and retreading ground while keeping the characters?
Que pergunta difícil. Como consultor, como você entra num trabalho e como você ajuda sem pisar nos personagens existentes, na história existente e consegue melhorar aquilo e evoluir aquilo e ajudar com aquilo?
acknowledging that they themselves have evolved, right? Like T'Challa, as a personality, his history has evolved over the decades.
A primeira parte é entender que esses personagens evoluem, tipo, os
personagens were understood one way, but now they're understood another way, right? So, keeping that sense of evolution,
manter esse senso de evolução dos personagens,
I think definitely frees up
realmente nos ajuda a entender e liberar esses personagens, cuidar desses personagens melhor.
A fresh story, find a new angle, and you know,
achar novo ângulo.
When I was working on the Miles Morales game, you know,
quando eu tava trabalhando em Miles Morales, no jogo do Miles Morales,
Peter Parker, you know, and
a gente via
project, it was okay. What makes this version of T'Challa, this version of Wakanda, different than the other things we've seen before, right?
E quando ele Miles Morales ele pensava, poxa, o que faz o Miles diferente do Peter? E aqui é o que faz essa versão do Wakanda, essa versão do T'Challa ser diferente do que já foi mostrado.
With it, you know, there's things about like, you know, Wakandan history that
existem coisas sobre a história de Wakanda
are seeing kind of beats historically, but like
importantes.
Are made manifest in the game.
E se manifestam no
I'm talking like physically as certain
locations. Fisicamente, quanto
that's very different than the comics have done.
São bem
and you know, there's a few moments where I was like, oh, that's really smart. Y'all thought about this. So,
e aí, tipo, a gente olha e fala, poxa, isso é muito inteligente, isso é uma sacada muito boa que vocês tiveram.
Supporting that work. And you know, like
dar suporte para esse trabalho que já foi
pushing
feito.
A little bit, you know, okay, remember this character is also this, you know, like.
E claro, puxando um pouquinho a orelha, tipo, lembra que esse personagem também é isso, não é só isso.
So, you know, it's always finding a balance between.
É sempre achando um equilíbrio entre a história e a fundação que você tem. Mas também onde você pode levar esses personagens, para onde eles vão e como você pode levá-los para lá. T'Challa que é basicamente uma encarnação viva da história do país. E a gente tentou o nosso melhor para fazer isso.
So we're like past 11. I know everyone is busy, but before I have one like really open-ended question at the end. Before we get there, if you guys, everyone in chat wants to read more about it, go to our Entertainment Weekly article where they interviewed Chris Judge, Evan Narcisse, and Hannah, all three of them. And I just want to clarify that the 25 hours does include the base game, the Reassemble campaign, Operations, War for Wakanda.
Tá falando que as 25 horas não incluem, não é só Guerra por Wakanda, é o jogo inteiro, é parte da história do jogo todo.
Want players to take or to get out of playing?
O que vocês querem que os jogadores vejam o ganhem ao jogar Guerra por Wakanda? Pra mim,
from a story perspective, but also like a meta perspective.
Uma perspectiva de história
symbolism what this place represents, right? Like black achievement, black excellence, you know, the spirit to endure and thrive,
espírito de suportar,
in a world that
de melhorar, de permitir num mundo que às vezes não te entende e você seguir em frente mesmo assim. Wakanda é uma realização dessa ideia. A gente tentou capturar essa ideia de isso. A personalidade de T'Challa e tudo que a gente é um resultado disso também. Eu acho que a história que é a justiça do Pantera, como você apresenta isso para o mundo, uma forma que encoraja colaboração e esperança ao invés de medo e desconfiança. Eu acho que tem uma clareza na narrativa sobre o que Wakanda é.
I think for me, I want people to see the layers that exist for Wakanda.
Vejam as diferentes camadas que
not everyone is aware of just by virtue of the movie being the most sort of popular thing, but there's a lot of really interesting layers to
várias camadas que o filme, por exemplo, não mostrou e que é mais popular.
In terms of the different tribes, in terms of the different roles in the government, you know, Wakanda is not one monolithic thing, and I think that's part of what makes it so much a source of hope, like Chris Judge said, which I almost cried when he said that.
É uma fonte de esperança, como o Christopher Judge disse.
I want people to see that Wakanda is not just one thing. It means a lot of things for different
pessoas vejam que Wakanda não é só uma coisa.
And I hope that by the end of it,
no final disso,
it's sort of stuck with you too. That Wakanda has left a mark on you as well. I think
Wakanda deixa uma impressão em você também. Como esperança.
Okay, that's amazing. That is all the time we have. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, chat, for tuning in. We have a lot more to show for Wakanda, a lot more to blogs, streams, all that stuff going into the future before we launch, and we can't wait for you guys to get in. Yeah, I guess that's it. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Evan, so much for everything. We're so happy to have you. I am also a fan. I keep telling everyone this. Sorry if it's creepy, by the way. I'm just gonna.
It's all good.
But yeah, I'm a huge comic book nerd, so same thing. Thank you so much for coming on here and for just consulting our team and everything. We're honored.
It's been a ton of fun. I can't wait to
see it all.
And I hope everybody enjoys it. And thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, everyone.
All right, everybody. Bye. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Uau. Uau. Vamos começar? Não, 25 horas, vamos deixar isso bem claro. 25 horas é o tempo da reunião, campanha original, operação da Kate em Namira, operação do Clint e o Guerra pro Wakanda. Essas 25 horas é isso tudo somado. Isso tudo somado. Tá? Pega essas 25 horas, ele tá falando da parte de história do jogo. Apenas disso. Se você juntar a campanha inicial, operações da Kate, operação do Clint e Guerra pro Wakanda, dá mais de 25 horas. É isso que eles querem dizer. Foi um erro da revista, inclusive a revista corrigiu o artigo depois da puxada de orelha que eles tomaram. Não temos. Não temos datas nenhuma hoje. Nada saiu de data. Só queria dizer isso pra vocês. Não teve nenhuma data. Eu gostei muito da parte do... Gostei de tudo, na verdade, mas o Judge em relação ao Pantera, caramba, emocionante. É incrível. Incrível. A forma com que ele deixou claro as coisas e como ele se importa com o personagem e como é que é importante pra ele fazer esse personagem. É bem... Eu acho que é emocionante. Eu acho que é por isso que ele tava tão emocionado. É emocionante ver alguém que se importa tanto e que tem tanto respeito e é tão humilde em viver esse personagem. Eu acho que isso é bizarro. Olha, eu acho que sim. Visto que eles não falaram nada, eu acho que nossa ameaça de enviar só foi na última semana do mês. E aí, de novo, esse é um chute meu, tá? Nada oficialmente foi dito. Mas eu chuto que dia 27 sairia uma pequena atualização com a ameaça de enviar e tudo que foi prometido pra gente. E por volta de dia 10 ou 17 sairia o Pantera. De agosto, no caso.